everyone. This is the video to introduce you to our new presentation, Meeting All Learners' Literacy Needs. And I've put a little acronym on the side for diversity. It's all about different individuals valuing each other regardless of skin, intellect, talents, or years. And that's what diversity should be in your classroom. We begin with our story of the week. And this week, we have Goldilocks and the Three Pandas by Natasha Yim. I chose this story this week because I really wanted to share with you the great literature out there that is either multicultural or diverse, because we want our literature to match our population of students. And we want to represent all of our students in our classroom. So if you have any students that are Chinese in your classroom, this is a great way for them to share all about their family. Goldilocks and the Three Pandas is a great story, but I am sharing it to you from a great website. And if you grew up with Reading Rainbow, they now have a website where you can go and watch stories online. So it's a great resource for your families and students to use. For our story of the week, listen to the story and think about how you can use this book in your classroom. Then record your answers on the weekly literature activity sheet and Dropbox them to me. This slide shares with you some of the information for that weekly story brainstorm. So I have our theme, our categorization, and our genre. Then I also have added up here some website links for the story. If you're stuck and you can't brainstorm anything on your own this week, these are three great websites. One is the author's website, and the other two are just ideas from some teachers that have used the book successfully. When you're ready, Dropbox your ideas and also check my ideas. I didn't present them in video form today, so you'll have to read them yourself, but they're pretty clear. Just remember, this will get easier. You might be struggling right now with each of the categories, and each week we will begin to learn a new category that's on this sheet that's in gray. And so as the semester goes on, you'll feel more confident about the kinds of activities that would match. You can rely on me for now, get as many as you can, but rely on me for your learning. Take a minute and read our weekly class message. And the thing to hone in on the message is our weekly journal. And this week, you're going to explain the linguistic, cultural, cognitive, and academic factors that influence diverse learners' literacy learning and recommend strategies for overcoming cultural and language barriers in the classroom. Now, that's taken right from our HACC content standards for this course, and it's kind of scary sounding, but when you break it down, you're going to explain what language factors, what culture factors, what cognitive or learning academic factors influence learning for our diverse learners, and how do we help them overcome any of these factors. In the presentation, I've just shared with you some of the data and statistics of diversity in Pennsylvania. Most of you will end up in classrooms in Pennsylvania, and it's staggering to see the diversity that we have in our state. Also, based on the data, you'll see that there's a lot of ways our classrooms are affected and our learners are affected. Take a peek at all the diversity, but where you'll get your most information is down here. You're going to see a lot of these little videos today in our presentation. It's called the Listen and Learn area. You don't have to watch them because it's a recording of audio, but click on that and I'll walk you through each of these statistics, and you'll get to see basically the importance and the impact of them in our learners. The next slide talks about differentiation. What is it? Why is it important? It's a word that if you don't know, make part of your vocabulary because it's a big one and an important one in our field. In the blue box, I want you to think of one way that a teacher differentiated for you when you were in school, and think of a time when a teacher did not differentiate for you and you really needed it. What kind of impact did it have on your learning? Click right here on the share button, and that's going to take you into a Padlet board just like we did last week. Answer the questions for our little sharing activity and make sure you put your name on so we can see, what you feel like differentiation means to you. Okay, now we're getting into linguistic diversity, and this is our language diversity that our students have. Again, lots of information on this slide, but you want to come over here to the listen and learn area. Again, it's a video, but you're not watching it. You can keep it this small. Just turn it on and you'll have the audio for the slide. Then we move into how to instruct our students that are linguistically diverse. Now, this slide has a ton of information. What you're going to want to do on this slide is to grab a notebook. And for each of these boxes, there's an instructional strategy. So we have support first language, sheltered English adaptations, and so forth. Write down that topic in your notes. Then read the little descriptor. It's kind of like the warm-up or summary of that instructional strategy. Then click on the listen and learn button. This will be a podcast, basically, of each of these instructional strategies. Take notes about the strategies. At the end of this presentation, you're going to be selecting a strategy from this slide or one of the next couple slides, and you are going to be creating a lesson around one of these strategies. So take notes as you go, because as you listen, you'll never remember everything if you're not jotting things down. So that's my recommendation. Each of the boxes has a listen and learn podcast. When you get over to instructional conversations, do the listen and learn, and then you'll see in the listen and learn box while I'm speaking, I'll tell you to pause that video and go into this video, and it's one of the instructional strategies kind of broken down because it's a huge, important one. So you want to make sure you watch that video as well. And that actually is a video to watch. When we move on to the next slide, you are going to do something called a try it out. A lot of times, I think about what would we do if we were in a face-to-face classroom. And after I teach you something, I want to make sure you understand it and can apply it. So you're going to try it out online. Now, let me explain this, this process because it's something new you haven't done before for me. Basically, those 6 strategies on the last slide are going to be put to the test in a fun activity. You're going to go back into D2L and open it up in the presentation file, and there's a handout. You can print that off, or if you just want to jot down answers, you don't need the handout, so don't worry if you don't want to print it out. You can just jot down your answers on notebook paper. Then you're going to click here and watch the video on the right. Now, this is not a YouTube video that's right here. When you click on this picture, it's going to take you to a website called Educanon. And Educanon is a website where you as teachers can create videos and you can pause them and have questions pop up for your students. It's a fantastic website. A couple of things that I want to kind of prompt you for. This video does not require you to log in, but it does require you to kind of put in your name and they'll track you. And that's for me. I'm the one that's tracking you. It should be simple. Every once in a while, I have a student that really struggles to get this website to work for them. No one knows why. It's one of those technology mysteries. But first things first, if you're using this, just like I mentioned with Google Slides, make sure you're in Chrome for your browser. This website specifically works well with Chrome. That's the browser they also recommend. The website or the web browser it works least with is Internet Explorer, especially if you have an old edition. So that could be just a one way to remedy if you have a problem. If you still have a problem, message me right away because I will figure out something. But I don't want you wasting a lot of time signing in. So if you have a problem, let me know. Don't play around with it for too long. But it's really cool because you'll watch parts of this video and then it'll pause and a question will pop up. And then you'll answer it on your handout, or you'll jot down your answer on notebook paper, and then you'll move on and you'll try it out again. So it's a great way that you can integrate, when we're not face-to-face, that application of skills. So have fun with it. After you have your answers at the end of the video, you are going to either Dropbox the answers by scanning them or take a picture of them. I just want to see your answers, and they'll go in the Dropbox for participation points. That's on D2L for our part of the week. Have fun with this one though. Now, we talked a lot about linguistic diversity. Now we're going to move on to cultural diversity. And these are instructional strategies that students who are culturally diverse will benefit from. What you're going to do on this slide is you're going to take the instructional strategies on the left and you're going to match them in your head, basically, to the instructional strategies on the right. And you can, write down in your notes whatever you want to do. But this little kind of warm-up activity before I tell you the answers will help engage you. And we do this with students a lot in the classroom to give them something before. It's almost like a little pretest to see what you know. And then when I give you the answers, you'll pay more attention to them. After you've done your little match of the 4 instructional strategies, click on the Try It Out answers, and this is where I'll explain each of the answers to you and tell you about each of the instructional strategies. Again, when I'm giving you the answers to the instructional strategies, write these 4 headlines down in your notes. And then this information and the answers, when I explain them, that will be the information you want to write down in your notes, because these are 4 of the instructional strategies you could also choose for the cultural language project at the end that will be introduced. So pay close attention to those instructional strategies. Then we move out of cultural diversity and move into the last kind of diversity we're discussing today, and that's cognitive and academic diversity. And this is basically how our brains are different. So there are, again, some interesting information on the slide. I want to show you the order you should do it in. First, start with the listen and learn. Again, not a video, just a podcast, but it'll explain everything on here to you. Take some notes. The 3 boxes at the bottom, you might want to jot down in your notes because there are 3 other instructional strategies. Then, after you get through the listen and learn, you will want to watch this video and you will want to watch this video because they will show you this strategy in action. And I know for you visual learners, that'll be very meaningful for you. All right, so that's the end of our material. What I'd like you to now is grab that instructional article that you read for homework, and I want you to think about the information I shared with you in the last 4 slides and make a connection to the article that you read for homework. If you haven't read the articles, they're right here. I've linked them in. Hopefully you have. And then when you're ready, click on our Padlet board right here, and that'll take you in to share the connection that you have between the 2 articles. This slide just talks about best practices, and these are things that benefit everyone in your classroom, but especially help meet all learners' needs. So they're kind of the top tips for teachers to know. And then some things we need to think about as a teacher are, at what point do you ask for help for a student? When do you realize that you can't handle everything on your own? And then what does your school do to support you in that process? So these are some things to think about. And honestly, you won't answer these because you might not know the answers. But in every school system, whether it be a public school, a private school, or if you're in a daycare or a preschool, there is a protocol for what you do when you have a student that needs extra help. And as an employee, it's your responsibility to learn that process. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you begin working in school-related centers. Now, this is our project, and I want you to do a couple things for me. First of all, you want to go into D2L and print out the project information, the little handout you'll follow along with as I do the video. The video here, it's pretty detailed. I hope it gives you a good idea of what to do about the project. I've also included on D2L a sample project of exactly what your project will look like when it's complete. Check it all out and then basically let me know if you have questions in that project discussion area, or you can post your question on Facebook, or you can send me an independent message through text or email. Don't stress over questions. Just get them out there because I'm sure if you're having it, someone else will. I try my best to communicate the project to you over these videos, but again, we're not face-to-face, so this is your opportunity to check in and make sure that you understand before you get frustrated, and I don't want that. All right. The last slide goes over your weekly assignment, and basically we start with that weekly journal, and that is the one that I read to you in the beginning. It should make a little more sense after you go through the presentation. It should make a lot more sense. Really be specific because it says what strategies will help them overcome their barriers. I gave you several instructional strategies in this presentation. There were 6 for linguistic, there were 4 for cultural, and there were 3 for academic. So you don't have to mention all of them, but when you start talking about the answer, be specific. You have all those notes you took from the podcast, so use them. Within this presentation, there are 2 Padlet boards, and so you want to make sure that you participate in both of those and put your name on. Number 3 is your weekly literature sharing. You had the Goldie Luck and the 3 pandas. Make sure you drop that in the Dropbox. And then the last one, the last big one within the presentation is that Educanon Try It Out video. You're not putting the video in the Dropbox, but you're putting your answers, a picture or a scan of the participation. Then start your cultural language project and skim chapter 2 to get us ready for next time. It's a busy week. Jump right in on it. And again, if you have trouble, let me know. Good luck and have fun. This is a good one.